Hello, everyone. I hope you guys are having an amazing day. Hello, Angie. Hello, JK. Hello, Grace. Hello, Launika, Yoli, Marilena. So great to see you guys. So kind of an impromptu live today. I really wanted to come on here because I've been having this really strong download this week about some important information about our morphogenetic field and our body, and some cosmic shifts that are coming into play that are affecting essentially the collective. And so I really wanted to tune into that today because my primary goal with today's live is to bring us into an absolute state of stillness. I want us all to come into a state of stillness, and I want us to begin working on cultivating that stillness. This month will be, so last month we talked about the apotheosis and some major elements of that. This month, it's really about, if you can think of it this way, last month was the masculine aspect of the healing phase in this transition. And this month is the feminine. Okay, it's coming into the more divine feminine aspect, surrender, intuition, how to cultivate that. And one of the things that keep coming up as a question for us in the group is that how are contractual agreements? How do we come into our feminine, both as men and women? We're not talking about sex, we're talking about the divine frequencies of maintaining harmony and balance within the dualities internally. So, how do we come into that divine feminine aspect of ourselves in order to heal, in order to come into intuition, in order to trust intuition? Those are the expressions on the highest element of the feminine. Okay. And a lot of these programs that suppress our ability to come into self trust, self-confidence, activated intuition abilities, are hindered by these really strong programs that we have adopted, that we inherited, that we play out, and that we cycle through in our DNA. Okay. So most of these contractual agreements that we have dormant in the subconscious mind, they become triggered in cycles. They'll become triggered based on your life experiences, the choices that you're making, and also cosmic and celestial movements that influence and enhance certain aspects of these subconscious programs. So where we're at right now is everything in the feminine, in the subconscious of the feminine, is coming to the surface. And how that looks like for us is essentially that what lives in the subconscious mind is everything that is suppressed, that is stagnant, and that's causing blockages in your life, either emotionally, physically, or mentally, that have to do with the feminine, the wounded feminine. What we need to look at is where the concepts of expansion have come into contraction, where the inversions of truth, feminine expression, freedom, love, authenticity, truth, coming into intimacy, feeling free in this ability to intuit and surrender. All of the inversions and manipulations of these things are essentially the deep programs that we have to clear up in our space. Okay, and for many of us, this can be very hard because it requires us to move out of our comfort zone into a place of absolute surrender and into very vulnerable places that most of us feel very uncomfortable coming into. So this is what this time in this elliptical turn of consciousness for the collective is really about. It's about learning how to navigate these very uncomfortable moments of absolute raw emotion. Okay. And a lot of these emotions that come up for us that are being triggered at this time in events, relationships, whatever is happening in your life, even collective events that are occurring, wars, these kinds of economic issues are all causing feelings of doubt and insecurity in the future or how we're going to move forward. So all of that is the unknown, okay? And we essentially have to train ourselves. We have to gently help support mind, okay, our mental logical process, our soul, our ancestral lineage, everything that we carry on, everything that we're experiencing multidimensionally, the non-physical aspect of ourselves, the non-form, the essence, the energy, the life force. We have to help that move through the transition, um, feeling comfortable in both physical and non-physical realms. Okay. And of course, the physical, which is the hardest part, has to learn how to be comfortable with that unknown. So, in order to do that, here's a little formula that has to do with the emotions are the number one. So, when we rebalance the emotions, you balance the nervous system in the body and you train yourself to enter into a state of observation and into a state of uh, a surrender and stillness. Okay. So this is really, really important. What happens when most of you sit in meditation, when most of you sit in silence, is that all these uncomfortable things that have been kind of suppressed for a long time, they start to come up. They start to come up, and essentially they feel very strong, and most of us want to run away. And we run away in very funny ways where we want to go watch TV, a film, go see some videos on YouTube. Some of us are eternal students. We want to keep filling our brain with information, okay? And a lot of this is actually very distracting and actually causes the brain to be in a constant state of logical survival processing because we have to parse information, we have to categorize it. Even if we think we're not doing that, we actually are doing it. Okay. So this actually is really, really important for us. We need to go beyond that because a lot of people with this information age, with the ability, this overload of technology, I mean, I got a chance to play around with Chat GPT this week. I mean, it's pretty humbling. It's pretty humbling, right? But I'm impressed, but not that impressed. And the reason why is because the technology that the human has of accessing information far transcends any model of information and technology that we have available in public. And those of you that have connected to source, those of you that have opened your channels in order to channel information, for example, this untainted source of divine information, you know that the human has the ability of connecting to a network of consciousness, super consciousness, collective consciousness that actually goes beyond the known information and data that we're kind of swimming through a soup through, right? We have the collective consciousness that we're kind of tuning into all the time. And these are the patterns of emotions and behaviors and programs that we all abide by, we indoctrinate our children with, and we ourselves apply in order to survive. But when you begin to break away from that, now you begin to enter into another realm of wisdom, of information. This is all of the history of our ancestors, the wisdom that they have imparted through generations, which is encoded in your DNA, which you have access to when you activate your DNA. And the way that you activate that DNA is through the stillness, the silence that allows you to have that conversation. When you come into stillness, you actually come into hyperactive energetic movement in your body. Okay, because actually activities and actions and physical movements are taking up a lot of life force energy. Thoughts and the monkey mind out of control takes a lot of life force energy. Unconscious judgments, meanings, and interactions take a lot of life force energy. So we actually don't realize that we think that we're using a certain amount of our brain during the day, but the processes that are available to the human architecture and the human technology are actually very simple. And they come online when you come into that stillness. The stillness is what activates the higher faculties of your body. Because the stillness, number one, allows your organs to begin to align with nature. Okay, when you come into stillness, No more of these input-output systems of the external matrix or the illusion hologram are coming into the system. Now you're accessing a higher sense of consciousness. And that higher sense of consciousness is accessible through these silent moments of connection with nature, where you geometrically, energetically begin to move the energies in your life force body. So, actively working with your life force energy is absolutely essential every single day. And it should be part of your energetic hygiene. It should be part of the things that we do every moment that we get up in the morning. It should be part of our daily routine. Above all, is checking into the energetic body. And because of the current state that we're in collectively in this evolutionary cycle of the collective evolution, energy work is going to become a new universal language. So those of you that have already been working with your energy, like you practice Qigong, you know how to do pranic work, you know how to work with life force, you know how to connect and read your multidimensional body. This is what I'm talking about. This is actually the language that we all need to start training, okay? Because a lot of people turn this spiritual information into another religion, where we begin to focus on praising the moon, praising deities, praising cosmic cycles, praising all these things. But actually, the physical body is it. This is the God center. This is the source. The vessel of the physical body is the vessel that connects and embodies source. So we have to actually activate this body. We have to learn how to use this body multidimensionally, and that can only be accessed through meditation, through that stillness, through that silence. So let's talk about the contractual agreements. The reason why I wanted to talk about this is because a lot of people are asking me, look, these cycles that we keep going through, it's difficult to break them. I can't break them. I get very triggered in these relationships, and I can't seem to transcend these challenges that are occurring. So our contractual agreements, let's take a step back. When this beautiful soul, this infinite life force connects into the body, it's connecting with many systems, okay? And the physical body is the bioorganic system that contains DNA, which contains, it's the blueprint, you can say blueprint, of all the information that is carried down your mitochondria, okay, aggregate copy of before, with all of the history of the existence, activities, all of the things that your ancestors have lived before, that have learned, that have adopted, that have experienced, and the emotions that they felt. All the programs is encoded in your DNA. You hold yours, and what is yours? Well, we'll talk about that in a moment, and all your ancestors, okay? So this is why breaking patterns seemingly will be very difficult for you. But in reality, we are not at the mercy of this. The human experience is an illusion. Everything that you experienced from the womb until the age of your current life right now, or the moment that you come into conscious awareness, is essentially stories after stories. Every moment that you were unconscious, you were only repeating patterns. You were living within an illusion matrix that is given to you, which you live within, and you abide by those laws and those rules, and you fit in. That's essentially, okay? Even those of you that haven't been fitting in, you're still playing the narrative of not fitting in, and that's also a program. That's also a program. So these are different states of dormant hypnosis. These are different states of unconsciousness. So we actually go through a process. The first, we go to the process of fitting in, following along, being loved, seeking that love, that approval. And then we go through the process of maybe rebellion, waking up consciousness, realizing that we don't actually play along with this matrix. And many of you begin to realize that you don't belong. Some of you have a feeling since you were very young that you don't belong. But the reason why you have that feeling is not because you don't belong. It's because your ancestral DNA is active within you. Your intergalactic DNA, it's galactic is just the name that we call it in this earth because we think that there's something like a galaxy. And in reality, we are talking about organisms inside of a field of consciousness that we are all interacting with. Okay. So I want you to understand these different spheres of layers of perception that we have. We want to break through these layers because all of these layers have their own physics, have their own laws, and how we navigate within them. So, of course, waking up process means that you learn the laws of each one of these layers. And that's what it is to wake up. You are learning the laws of each dimensional layer through your interactions and your navigations of them. So, in their physical life, we have the story of our life. We have our parents that, however they were raised, become the parents, behave as parents or not parents. And we get all these programs. Okay. So that is the first part. The illusion that we have to break is the concept of the illusion of family, the illusion of the structures of society that imposes within us. We have to kind of go beyond that because continuing to hold on to those structures will cause suffering because the real truth, the higher truth above that is that actually we are all equal souls experiencing. We are an interdependent system, but we are not dependent on another for our love and for our needs to be met. Only until the age of 7, and then of course as you're growing up as a child. But once you understand this, and this is part of the human experience, we have to experience that. Some of you have dealt with it better than others. But when you come into consciousness and you begin to realize that these are programs and stories, you no longer have to hold on to those stories of suffering. You understand that they are temporary experiences in order for you to transcend beyond them. Okay? So we need to first understand that. Second of all, the stories that were created are incredibly important for your ascension because in those stories is encoded the secret of who you are. Okay? Because your soul that actually came into this body, into this lineage, chose the family, and chose is a powerful word, but actually it's an intelligence that humans cannot understand. There is a self-organizing intelligence to your soul when it entered into this three-dimensional realm, that it knew to come into the family that you come into because of everything that you've been, everything that you become, the lives that you exist in simultaneously all play a role in the life that you come into when you incarnate in this body. And all these experiences that you come into in the womb, the time of your birth, again, there is a certain astrology that essentially it's like a photograph of all the cosmic planets that were in alignment at the time of your birth play an important role in the vibrational frequency, blueprint, and coding, the vibrational signature that make up who you are. But all of that plays a role in the contractual agreements of the life that you're going to have. So when we think about healing and deprogramming, we have to understand this. We have to understand that there is a natural selection, if you will, a higher intelligence that self-organized itself to allow you to incarnate in this lineage, this ancestral lineage. And in order for your soul to incarnate in this ancestral lineage, we're talking about many lifetimes in many dimensional realms where things had to happen, many lives, archetypal expressions, playing cause and effecting, okay, laws of karma, cause and effect that came into play in order to create this circumstance in which you come into this realm. So there is no such thing as a random incarnation in a place where you do not belong. And we kind of can know this, okay? Because when we begin to look at, for example, the morphogenetic field and the study of the morphogenetic field and the level of intelligence that comes into the self-regenerating systems of our physical body, for example, Okay, as above, so below. This intelligence that our physical body has, there is nothing that exists within this organism that doesn't belong there. Otherwise, the body gets sick. It creates an infection. And if it's something that's parasitic, it eliminates with the white cells, right? The red and white cells are creating a balance in the body. Okay, so you need to understand that this system that we exist in, this world that you see of as a world, is actually very much this self-organizing, self-balancing system. So in that sense, everything that you experience plays a role in creating the circumstances and scenarios that you need as a human that will help you. And when I say help, allow you, invite you to experience. That's it. It's about experience. So if we take this an example, when we think about healing, it changes the perspective of the kind of healing work that we're doing. Because now you can move yourself gently out of that perspective of victimization, of suffering, of helplessness, hopelessness, into a state of awareness and perhaps even empowerment. As you begin to learn this and see this for yourself, you begin to strengthen your source connection because you're waking up from the dormant state of this overlay of the matrix. Okay. And essentially, what happens is that as you disconnect these contractual agreements, we want to learn. First of all, here's some homework. What are your contractual agreements with every member in your family? Number one. What are the contractual agreements with friends and families and those closest to you, your intimate partners? Okay. What you're going to notice is a lot of repetitive patterns. And what happens when we are living life in a state of unconscious, dormant hypnosis, that we begin to make choices based on fear rather than love, because fear is survival. When we are in survival, we actually believe that we're going to be safe because we're making sure we're not dying. But actually, because we haven't learned that we are infinite soul beings by connecting to the intuition, we keep repeating survival mechanisms that our ancestors have pretty much failed at, right? Because they keep repeating and inheriting suffering programs, generations through generations, and we play them out. Not only do we play them out, but our vibrational frequency attracts the exact same scenarios into our life again. So we keep repeating these cycles over and over again. This is the dormant unconscious. When you come into stillness, when you come into the present moment, it allows a pause in the generation of co-creation for you to begin to choose consciously out of hypnosis now, not to repeat patterns. And this is the part of the human ascension that becomes kind of scary for the human because they need to come into unknown behaviors. They need to experience love. They need to experience peace. They need to experience harmony. They need to experience compassion. And all of these little simple examples that I gave are actually things that many of us are not familiar with. Many of us haven't even quite felt them. And for those of you that do feel that you felt it, but your life is still a mess and you're still in disharmonious relationships and you're still suffering and in survival, you haven't really felt them. And the reason why I say that is because there are layers to the way we understand and perceive even these emotions. The depth that you're willing to go into your shadow is the depth that you're going to understand these emotions, these primary constructive emotions. And you really won't understand them until you go into your shadow, because everything functions in these dualistic expressions. Okay. And in order to understand the opposite of something and the depth of something, we have to enter into the opposite of exactly what we're trying to avoid. So fear, anger, anxiety, resistance, contraction, control. We have to dive into those emotions and begin to look at what is our relationship with them, what are the patterns that we're repeating, what have we been carrying ancestrally, and simply take a look right now in your life, right now, in your emotions, in this present moment. What emotions come up for you? What triggers you? How do you know that you're healing and you're in doing the work? Is that very little triggers you. And I am not talking about coming into a stoic state of being in which you are manufacturing and a numbing of your emotions and reactions. I am talking about absolute authentic expression of yourself. Authentic expression, truth, your truth. You are living your truth in these interactions. And while you experience the rawness of your truth, you then begin to bring your body from that out of balance into a balance. This is the transmutation of emotions. And it's very much a biochemical, bioelectrical, biophysical process. It's not just in the mind. It is something that changes the way you respond to things, the way you react, the way you feel about yourself, and the way you feel about the world. So these are the kind of things that we want to begin to look at in these contractual agreements. But essentially, how do we begin to work with these contractual agreements? Is that once you identify the contractual agreement, and so let me quickly give you a little tip for this work when you start to do this work. The contractual agreement will be the repetitive trigger that you have with the person. That's the agreement. Okay. The agreement is to learn how to transcend that. Okay. So whatever is the repetitive pattern that is triggering you every single time with this individual, this is your first layer that I want you to look at. Okay. And as you do this work, what you're going to find is that actually, and I'm going to give you a little, what do you call this? Not like a cheat sheet, but like a tip, I guess, that ahead of time, I found this out on my own during my own work and meditation. And when I discovered it, it was so shocking to me. It was so shocking to me. But what I figured out was that actually it's very simple. We think that we have thousands of complex relationships, thousands of triggers in ourselves, and seemingly it is. But the reason why it feels overwhelming and like so many is because we lack the stillness to observe them carefully. When you sit still and you observe the triggers, what you're going to find actually is that it's very simple. You are always choosing across the board between love and fear. And what you're going to come down to, you're going to narrow all these contractual agreements down to, is your agreement with love and fear. That's actually your life purpose. Okay. So if we want to talk about purpose, there's many purposes that we have here, but your purpose as a soul that incarnates into this physical realm, in the body, in the family that you have, is to transcend all of the limiting belief systems, triggers, pain, and suffering that is being caused by your nucleus in your everyday life. This is one of the most powerful aspects of your soul experience. When you begin to transmute that, you become free. You live longer, you become really healthy, you become free, you can leave your body, okay? You become a conduit of life force and you begin to activate higher faculties. So this is actually the experience of the high new human, essentially, the high functioning human. And we transcend the matrix. This is what it means to transcend the matrix, because you are no longer in this unconscious hypnosis of repetitive patterns. You now become a co-creator. So in order to dissolve these contracts, you have to identify the trigger, transmute it by teaching yourself the opposite patterns, unlearning the patterns that you've learned, and replace them with co-creative, productive healing patterns. And what you're going to find at first is that there will be resistance. Parts of you will be afraid. Parts of you will feel unsure, insecure. Parts of you will even feel lonely and isolated, because what we look like now is somebody that is no longer abiding by the social norms. Okay. And for many people, you will feel a little isolated. And I want you to be very brave for this, because when we come into this process of awakening, it's me, it's you that create a new society. And we need you right now. We really need you. We really need you to hold space in this new way of being. We need the old paradigm to be dissolved from the inside out. The way that these organisms in this universe works is the earth is self-generating. It's a recycling system. It dissolves death into life. Our lives are a regenerative cycle. And the way that we exist and the way that we navigate the physical realm is also a regenerative cycle. So we want to learn how to become regenerators of our own life force. And that's essentially what we're doing. We are moving all the stagnant cycles into proactive, fast, fluid moving life force conduits. Okay. So I'm going to stop right there before we do the meditation. I'm going to jump into the chat because we're getting a lot of messages and I want to answer your questions. Okay. Thank you so much, RR2. Thank you for joining us. It's so great to have you here. Doug, great to have you here. Cedric, so awesome to have you here. Custom molding, I've been incorporating the visualization of the fourth dimensional reality into my external daily life. It's very disorienting, but very exciting at the same time. Visualization of four-dimensional reality. Okay, can you clarify that for me? Because what do you mean it's disorienting? I want to make sure that we are supporting you in this, because it really shouldn't be disorienting. It should be very peaceful and actually empowering. So I want to make sure I understand, if you are beginning to look at yourself and the world around you multidimensionally, in control of your emotions, in a state of observation and neutrality, you will definitely come into a place of peace. You will see a lot of things that maybe this is what you mean. You will see a lot of truths. You will see how things are inverted in many ways. And you need to learn how to create homeostasis in the body. Okay. Emotions and energetic and nervous system. So let me know. I hope that. I want 5D and beyond. You are 5D and beyond. Brad, so great to see you. Welcome. I'm fantastic. Grace, I believe we have those abilities. However, a stepping stone is okay if starting all over again. We absolutely do. Cedric, thank you so much for that super chat. That really means a lot to me. And you have a question here. During the time of stillness, deep meditation or sleep, how can I improve remembering downloads from theta or delta sleep when woke? Right. So the way that we store memory in the body is actually something that we don't even need to try. It's something that's automatic for us. The only thing that impedes the ability to access the memory is our level of awareness. So this is something that we have to train. We need to come into a state of awareness every moment of our day. This level of awareness allows you to recognize and discern what you're navigating moment by moment. And this is really important for us because we fall asleep every moment. Every moment we fall asleep. Okay, so this is something that has to be trained and maintained. And most humans have a really hard time being conscious. So what will happen if you keep programming yourself to stay conscious during your waking state? This will bleed into your dream state. And you will begin to remember your dreams. So the first step is that you start remembering. We have to train the memory of this, we have to train the memory and the recording systems when we shift brain waves. First, we bring ourselves into alpha state during waking state. Number one, it's step by step. So you becoming aware of yourself in waking state brings the brain into alpha state because it's in a state of observation and it's non-judgmentally processing information. Next step, when you sleep, you're going to get a notebook. I want you to buy a notebook where you will write all of your dreams down. And right before you go to sleep, you're going to actually clear your energetic field. You're going to activate your body. You're going to shrink your first 3 chakras and open your top 3 chakras, this will allow you to enter into a high conscious open state. You're going to seal your body in a thick field, making sure every field of your body is sealed completely. This also takes training, but it's very important. So you begin to learn how to regulate your emotions as well as regulating energy. Emotions are energy. So when our emotions are a hot mess, our field is a mess. So we need to learn how to work both ways. The emotions come into state of calm, and also our field visually. You're going to create the spheres around your body. Okay. So as you create a nice solid, cultivating that sphere every moment of your day, this is part of GPAC, ground, protect, align, co-create, basic, energetic daily hygiene. As you train yourself to have your field around you, when you close your first 3 chakras and open your first chakra, because you're going to be so open and intuitively active here, you need to understand that protection. And our highest protection is high vibrational frequency, unconditional love. That means the perception that everything is a part of you. So this requires training in your shadow work. Do the shadow work. Begin to transmute the fears that we have of the unknown. Look and process your emotions as you begin to see very challenging things in your life, parts of you that you can't forgive, shame, guilt. This is how you train your strength and strengthen your light. Okay. So as you do this training, what will happen in dream time when you go to sleep, I want you to tell yourself, I'm going to remember my dream tonight. I'm going to be conscious. And as you fall asleep, in the first few minutes of sleep, open your eyes, close them. Okay. Allow yourself to sleep a little bit. Then open your eyes again, bring yourself back into consciousness. Tell yourself, I'm going to remember my dream tonight. I'm going to be conscious. I'm going to be lucid. I'm going to be aware, and then go back asleep. And then one more time, open your eyes again and bring yourself back to sleep, repeating to yourself every time that you are going to be conscious and aware. Okay. And what this will do is that it will begin to program your brain into a state of higher conscious awareness. As you fall into deep sleep, you will go into REM state. REM is when your eyeballs are moving fast. This is also when we come into hypnosis. We come into that high rapid eye movement. Okay. So this REM state is essentially what we're going to reach in order to navigate. So you can also have an alarm that will wake you up around 3, 4 in the morning, and have a cup of water next to you. When that alarm goes up, you're going to get up, you can go to the restroom, you can drink water, and I want you to do the same thing again. You're going to ask yourself to come into conscious awareness, and you're going to fall back asleep. So after you do this over, let's say 30 nights, 30 days and 30 nights, you are training yourself to come into conscious awareness, waking state and dream state. You will train yourself to lucid dream. The next step is to learn how to navigate lucid dream. And that requires another level of mastery where you begin to when you wake up consciousness now in the dream state, you will begin to remember. Okay. So this is how we train ourselves to begin to access the memory. And when you are in meditation, now that you understand this process, you memorize it through the body, you memorize it through the nervous system, you will be able to go into really deep states of meditation. Okay. So when you're in deep states of meditation, it will help you access now. And in meditation, I want you to activate the dimensional chakras from 8 up to however far you want to go, and be very conscious what dimensional layer you're channeling from. This is how you will remember. Okay. So go ahead and activate that dimensional chakras that you're navigating. And let's say you go into 10th, 11th dimensional plane. You need to be conscious of this. This is the process of navigation that I was talking about. So when you're in these very deep brain states, you're in higher states of your dimensional layers. You can access them if you want to. So this is where the downloads come in from. Have a notebook next to you and be aware. Write down the dimension that you're in, and the layer of your body, the wave brain state that you're in, and that will help you remember everything. Okay. So anyway, so this is kind of I hope that helps in answering that question. Okay. Very good. I'm currently pregnant. I didn't want the baby, but at the same time, I couldn't have an abortion. I have accepted and want to heal ancestral lineage, mine and hers. Okay. This is a really, really important topic that I really want to do an entire series on, but it's something that probably will turn into a course, because the conception of life is the most powerful life force in the universe. So I'm so glad, I'm so proud of you for accepting the pregnancy now that you've accepted it. The fetus, the zygote, the fetus feels everything that you feel. So in this process, I invite you to come into meditation and to begin to work, number one, with the contractual agreement of conception. Get clear about why you conceived at this moment. Why was there a disconnect between wanting, not wanting? There's a lesson there. There's a gift there. There's information there. And it has to do with our partner. It has to do with our dynamics of boundaries, relationships, and our ability and our empowerment, our belief in our self-empowerment in our life. Anytime that we believe that we are not empowered in any way, we manifest situations that create this. And the soul of this child that's coming in now is going to trigger these lessons within you. So the sooner you are aware and you begin to work with them, you can also help the child evolve, in that the child's contractual agreement won't be tied only to those lessons. She will be able to transcend into a higher expression of her own existence. So this is how we work with timelines. Break those ancestral karmic lessons, because this resistance of bringing life into being is not just with you. It's actually many generations that it's happened. We need to understand why. And this will help liberate you from karmic patterns and suffering as you bring the child into the world, as you raise the child, and karma and suffering that we can inherit into the child. Okay. So let me know if you have more questions about that, because I could talk a lot about in different directions. Okay. All right. So, right, your baby. Yeah, you guys are great. You got a great support family here. Love you guys. Light workers are so amazing. Platonic solids have frequencies of sound and light. When you can use your mind to spin them and twist them while visualize them, unlock certain parts of the blueprint matrix. Exactly. So every single one of the platonic solids is also the language of frequency of each dimension. Each dimension has its own platonic solid that rules the way that life force and light is bent or processed in those dimensions. So this is a great way, and we actually can shape our bodies into the platonic solids in the geometric structures that these platonic solids form. We actually have all of those geometric shapes encoded in our DNA, in our bodies. Our Merkaba is one of those, one of many. So as we learn how to navigate higher dimensions, we also change the shape of our own geometry, essentially becoming more formless. The more complex the geometric structure of our body, the more formless, of course, out of the physical realm, the meat suit no longer has a shape in that same way. Okay, so you guys have a lot of questions here. Also interesting. Justin, thank you for being here. Please hit the like button. Geraldine's time to cross 10K threshold. Thank you so much. That's very kind of you. Yes, if you find value, please do share. Please do share this. Venusian, it's very peaceful. Just geometry. Yeah, that's right. If you have any questions, please put them in capital letters so I don't have to read through the whole thing, if you would kindly do that. So, began to attract senseless violence before when I've ascended via deep shadow work. Always wondered why I did. Lead me to the martial arts though. Okay, this is a very good question. So rockers in Los Angeles began to attract senseless violence when he ascended doing deep shadow work. And so he wants to know, why did that happen? Why, when you do the shadow work, you attract these tremendous things? So this is the next level conversation. Okay, our ascension process never ends. Okay, to become conscious is the first step. To embody unconditional love is actually the real step. Okay, and that's the next level. When we do the shadow work, we clear and neutralize all of these emotions into a 0 point. But from that 0 point, the graduation of that is to learn how to embody unconditional love. And that unconditional love emerges from the 0 point, because the 0 point is non-judgmental and begins to see all things as a part of yourself. So what we need to do essentially is teach ourselves what love is. And this is something that very, very few humans know, understand, and have experienced. Love is not an emotion. It's not the emotion that Disney has sold. It's not the romantic emotion. It is collective unity consciousness. It is higher consciousness that we are accessing. That is unconditional love. And it means that you accept yourself in all of its expressions, light and dark, and all of the aspects of yourself interdimensionally, that you begin to train yourself to also accept those parts of you. Reptilian aspects, Arcturian aspects, whatever is inside out of you interdimensionally are all fractals of yourself. So we have to learn how to integrate. And to integrate means to become and to gain awareness and mastery over our fractals in all of these dimensions. And we do that by these navigations. When you navigate dream state, you're accessing these levels. When you have out-of-body experiencing, you are accessing these levels. When you die, you are accessing levels. So all we're learning how to do is how to navigate. So many times we don't realize that we graduate from certain shadows, but we haven't strengthened the soul. The soul now has been so used to shadow lessons, we have to now strengthen the light body. The light body is strengthened by creating powerful self-trust, the cultivation of your life force, unconditional love. And most of the reasons why we manifest violent things and very traumatic experiences again when we enter into a waking state is because we haven't found trust in ourselves yet. It's one of the most powerful tests and experiences that the human has when it wakes up consciousness. It has to learn how to feel safe in surrender, and it has to learn how to sustain that. And that means that we have to trust our intuition fully, completely. And until we do that, if we have even the slightest bit of trust or doubt in ourselves or in what we manifest, or any slightest bit of shame or hate in ourselves, those are all very powerful subconscious belief systems that manifest from the subconscious mind. Because remember that when we heal, we're healing in layers. We heal first our issues in our story of our life, and then we heal the issues of the collective ancestral lineage. Okay, this is all suppressed in the subconscious. And then we grow up and we begin to heal the issues of the collective consciousness, the human race, and then the collective subconsciousness. Okay, this is how we gain, how we grow our light, how we expand. This is how we ascend. Okay, how we become one. Unity consciousness can only be attained when you come up and you begin to access the information of the collective traumas in the collective consciousness. So you have to be able to graduate from all of these experiences that present themselves to you, that you manifest, that is encoded in your DNA, in order to become unified consciousness, the God, the embodiment of source. which is all and nothing at the same time. Okay. So this is something that's not talked about a lot, but really important for you to know, because then people get really resentment towards their spiritual work, disappointment. They don't trust themselves, they don't trust their information, they don't trust the process anymore. And this is very dangerous, because then the person can really fall even deeper, and that resentment can make them fractalize again. Okay, so we never end up fractalizing unless you choose to. You can always fractalize in trauma. Daniel, thank you so much for your super chat. I really appreciate that. Thank you for your knowledge and enlightenments. Thank you so much for being here, for your generous love. I really appreciate that. Unconditional love is not love without condition. It is love regardless of the conditions. Yes, that's right. Fantastic stuff, Geraldine. I'm so glad. All right, guys, let's go into our meditation. I do see more questions. I'm going to answer them at the end, okay? Just so we don't get too late here. All right, let's start by inhaling deeply. Breathing deeply. With every breath you take, coming into a state of complete relaxation, complete calm. I want you to bring yourself into stillness. See how quickly you can bring yourself into absolute stillness, allowing all of those energies and movement in your body to run its course. And you're going to maintain absolute stillness. I want you to begin incorporating your breath, your breathing, as you inhale deeply into the base of the spine, expanding that solar plexus, and exhaling. And we're going to begin to pull the breath down into the lower abdomen. This is strengthening our stillness. The breath is what creates the foundation for stillness in the body, because the breath is what controls the nervous system. Okay, now we're going to move to quieting that monkey mind. So any kind of racing thoughts, any kind of distractions, sometimes the body will resist. It'll create itches, it'll create pain, it'll create the body uncomfortable feelings of the body. I want you to force yourself in a sense to come into a state of stillness. And the reason why I want you to kind of make yourself come into this stillness is because I want you to notice how powerful these waves of resistance and how they feel in the body. If you are observant enough, each one of these little distractions are encoded with emotional information for you. So just go ahead and tune in to what emotions are in the body that really want your attention, really want to move around. You might be holding your breath. You might notice that your tummy is clenched, your muscles, your jaw is clenched, your shoulders are tight. Okay, this is now, you're now tuning into the language of your body, of energy. Breathing. Okay. With every breath you take, letting all of those little movements run its course through the body as the body comes into a deeper state of stillness. Just notice how much resistance the body feels, how much it wants to suppress, how much it wants to control. Notice how much it suffers in this process. And just notice how compassionate stillness is for the body. Releasing your abdomen muscles, I want you to feel the sensations that are in your body through your abdomen. This is the emotional layers of your body. As you feel the uncomfortable sensations in your body, I want you to notice the emotions that come up. What emotions are trapped in those tight parts of your body? Scan the body from head to toe. You're going to feel your eyelids falling even deeper. The more relaxed, the more still you get. Some of you might be surprised with actually the level of stillness that you're able to achieve. Maybe you thought you were already still before, but sometimes we discover we're actually really controlling a lot or trying to control. So I want you to tune into your solar plexus. And your solar plexus is one of your most powerful emotional tools because it's the emotional layer of the body that can help you tune into the emotions that you're feeling and translate from the body to emotions. So during this practice, maintain very acute awareness that your muscles in your abdomen are completely relaxed. And be aware anytime they want to start contracting. And just bring it back into relaxation. Focus on your ears, focus on your chest, your shoulders. Notice any tension there and release. Take your attention back to your breath as you begin to inhale down. Now you'll be able to breathe even deeper down to the base of the spine, almost touching the perineum. Okay. We're going to go to the perineum now as you begin to activate the vortex in the perineum. I want you to anchor yourself as if you have a cord tied to your body, to your solar plexus, all the way down to the center of the earth. Begin to tune in. How does it feel like to be fully grounded? Once again, be observant of any discomfort that comes up as you come fully into your body, as you begin to become aware of your body in its physical state, becoming aware of your toes, your shins, your calves, your knees, your thighs, your hips, pelvic bone, spine. And once again, scanning any resistance out of the body. Releasing your brow. So now your attention should be fully on your breath. It's like you become a breathing body. Every breath you take, allowing yourself to come into a state of stillness. And we're going to sit in this stillness and silence for a minute. Try to limit your movements to the very bare minimum, trying to stay as still as possible. The only thing moving is the air coming out of your abdomen, into your nose and out of your nose, in through your nose, expanding the abdomen. Anytime a thought comes, come back to the breath. Anytime a part of you wants to tense up, make it relax. Come back into expansion. And as you're here, you're going to begin to see a golden light appearing in your mind's eye. I want you to gently roll your pupils up towards the center of your forehead. And you're going to stay completely still. You're going to put your tongue to the roof of your mouth, the tip of your tongue to the roof of your mouth. Breathing. Sustaining the stillness. I want you to begin to observe a violet light that you're going to begin to see at the crown of your head, top of your forehead. I want you to expand that violet light all around you. Come back to stillness. Thoughts that come into the mind, distractions, come back to the breath. Come back to the stillness. Go ahead and visualize from the center of the earth, a powerful green golden light comes up, creating a vortex around your lower body. Feel the pull of that rotation. The stiller you get, the stronger you will feel the pull of the rotation. The stiller you get, the faster you'll be able to rotate it. Okay, from source, go ahead and bring down a powerful wave of golden light, comes down to the crown of your head, beginning to mix with this green and gold all around you, activating the vortex of your body. Focus on your breath. Don't forget your breath. You are breathing down to the base of the spine. maintaining absolute stillness. Go ahead and visualize releasing down to the center of the earth. I want you to clear all 13 layers of your body. Do it now. Be as thorough as you can. Seventh layer, eighth layer, ninth layer, 10th layer, 11th layer, 12th layer, 13th layer. You're going to bring your root into a balanced state. Go ahead and spin your root chakra, clearing it out. Repair the root, first layer of your body. If it's torn in half, bring it into a whole. If it's really wide, make it balanced. If it's broken apart, bring it together. Whatever you see is going on with your chakra. If it's stagnant, make it move. If it's moving too fast, if it's overactive, bring it into balance. You read your body. Go up into the sacral. Go up into the solar. And we're working with the chakras front and back, not just one side. Go up into the heart. How's your heart doing? Check in. You'll notice, those of you that can see, that as you heal these layers of your body, you'll see different colors, different lights flashing in your mind's eye. It can be very subtle. You're also going to feel emotional sensations shifting. Okay, you might feel heat, you might feel cool. Pay attention to all of these movements. Go up to the 6th layer now, your throat chakra. Also, you will get clarity. Go into the 7th now. Go into the 8th. I want you to enter your creative color here into the 7th and the 8th chakra, setting the intention that everything that you do, your career, your love life, your relationships, your family, your children, your business, your creative life force, your sexual energy, your creativity, your life purpose, your health, all areas of your life are in alignment with your highest expression. I want you to intent on setting this intention with your will, with your awareness. Okay. You'll notice that your heart chakra expands. Go up into the 8th, 9th. You're going to fill this with your intent, with your color. Your 10th. Activate the 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th. Activate the 16th, expanding that 16th layer. Activate the 17th, the 18th, the 19th, 20th, 21, and 22. I want you to begin to see a room filled with your karmic contracts, with all your contracts with your ancestral lineages. Go ahead and take a look at those in front of you. Some of you might get a clear understanding as to what they're about and who they're about. If you don't, that's okay. Just observe them in front of you. I want you to shine your crown light on top of these contracts and gently dissolve each one of them. Setting the intention that all of these old repetitive programs, you are consciously ready to let go. You are ready to receive the insight in a higher form. This is through your awareness and through your intention to embody this godlike state, this creative higher self, this unity consciousness. So as you dissolve these karmic contracts that entangle us to the matrix, I want you to replace this room with your color of your creative. Okay. Allow yourself to fill that room. Very good. Excellent work. Very good. So allow yourself to come into a state of complete observation. Come back into the room as you open your eyes. Okay. Very good, guys. You guys did amazing. So how does that feel? I just want you to try to stay in that stillness for as long as possible. This is a very powerful tool that I want you to use on a daily basis. And if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat below. I want to thank you so much for joining me tonight on this impromptu get together. But I really feel that we really need this kind of meditation on a daily basis. So try to do it. So let me come back into the questions here. Please put your questions in capital letters. Precious Jewel says, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I would like more information regarding healing fetus and how exactly to break karmic cycles for my fetus. Would it be if I'm already doing it for myself? Thank you. Yes, my love, Precious. Precious Jewel 9. Yes. So let me simplify it. Simply in your meditation, observe the things that are triggering you in your everyday life. Okay, take a look at the past 24 hours. Just start there. Very simple. What's something that triggered you in the past 24 hours? That is the gold right there. That's an entire vortex. It's an entire strand of DNA, of ancestral programming that we have the ability to uncover. Okay. So as you begin to look at that trigger, just notice the emotions that come up, sit with the emotions and get to the root. The question is, what is it that you need? Who is acting out in that moment? Who is feeling threatened? Is it the ego or the soul? Okay. And if it's the ego, I want you to talk with that ego. With that ego. I want you to have a conversation with that ego. I want you to look at it, take a look at its state. It's literally going to manifest itself in front of you. And our ego is going to look either like a child, or it's going to look like someone abandoned, or someone shrunk, or someone hurt, or, we have all kinds of things. Every person is different. So I want you to see what you find there. And that will show you in its expression, in its physical manifestation, what it needs. This is your subconscious trauma speaking out. And this is what we inherited from the ancestors. Okay. So when you access that part of that ego that is hurt, that is damaged, what do you need? What does that ego need in order to no longer feel that way? What would be the opposite? Let's say it's in a state of survival and fear. Okay, what's the opposite of that? Okay, so we're going to provide that ego with this information. But the opposite is a learning process. It's a reprogramming. So the deprogramming is the access of the ego in that broken part. That's your fractal. And the reprogramming is the new program you're going to embed. And this has to be very clear. you want to make sure that you are operating from the laws of nature, working in the highest truth. So I want you to question your belief systems, even the ones that you think are the right ones. I want you to question them. And you want to make sure that you're coming into unconditional love, that you are always coming in from the highest truth that is good for yourself and the collective. That is kind of how we begin to navigate these truths, discern what is true. And more importantly, how do you satiate that deep requirement for that soul? Remember, you're a soul. So the soul suffers through the physical because it believes it's separate. How can we bring that physical into believing it's the soul, which is infinite, okay, and limitless? So this is the process that I invite you to take. And as you reprogram this new way of seeing, your fetus is literally working with you in those realms. Okay. And as you work with the fetus, I want you, it'll naturally uncover for you the role of the fetus, because well, you'll see in the work that you do, you're going to uncover a pattern passed down through the mother's lineage. Okay. And this lineage from the mother's lineage, this program, is why the sex of the child is a female. Okay, so this goes into other deeper things, but even the sex of the child, and um, I want to be careful here because I'm not talking about sexual identity yet. That does play a role, but it's another higher layer of this. Okay, but the manifestation of the energies that are either balanced or imbalanced in a couple will manifest in the life that is being brought in, because that is here to balance and heal ancestral traumas of both lineages. So this female or this child that is being born, whatever it is playing that role. So I just want you to notice that. Okay. And this will be your opportunity to heal that. JJ, thank you so much. Grace, you're welcome. Ice Lily, thank you so much. It was very sad. This was stabilizing and healing. Great reminder and necessary. Wow, wonderful. Angie, thank you, Geraldine. I was triggered yesterday. I was working on understanding how I can be a better person for me. Definitely my ego, childlike. Ah, very good. Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Geraldine. Much love. Thank you so much. Thank you. I didn't tell you it was a girl. It is. Wow. I send unconditional love to you. Yeah. Precious, Jewel, and everyone here, Haleo, Liz, JJ. I felt sore, one side of the body, pins and needles at the start of the meditation. The body talks. The body talks. Okay. Geraldine, do you have a Cash App or PayPal in case anyone leads here would like to support? Thank you so much for asking that. You can submit a super chat by clicking on the little $ underneath the chat box here. And you can also PayPal me if you would like to. And the PayPal is info@bayareameditation.com. I'm gonna put it here in the chat in case somebody feels inspired to do that. Let me see if I can spell meditation though. Okay. All right. All right. I love you so much. Thank you so much for spending your evening with me. It's been such an honor to be here, and see you soon. Unconditional love. Bye-bye.